What's going on, guys? Bank Robber Games here. Thought I'd do something a little bit different. Bandai Namco just released a awesome Armored Core 6 trailer, and I thought I'd do a little bit of a breakdown. Yeah, after watching the trailer loads of times, really excited for this game. Really can't wait for it to come out, and very much looking forward to doing a playthrough on the channel for you guys. Something to note is there was an IGN interview also released alongside this, so I'll link that down in the description for you guys to watch, because it provides a lot more information that's than what's included in the trailer. But first off, I'm going to let the trailer play for you guys, for anyone that hasn't seen it, and yeah, just take it all in. It's really awesome, and then I'll come back after the trailer and break it down.
We're close to Rubicon. Wake the dog up.
Handler Walter verified. Activating cerebral coral control device. Augmented human C4621 has awakened.
One of the infamous Handler Walter's hounds. Interesting. You ready to climb the wall?
Call sign Raven. Priority subject for termination. High on the list.
A coral response from the generator. Watch out!
Why hide behind another's call sign?
Let's see how far they can fly. On borrowed wings.
So yeah, that was the trailer. Like I said, really awesome. Really good. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll go through now and have a little bit of a breakdown. So the first thing we'll notice is this awesome opening shot that looks like it's from an in-engine cutscene at the start of the game. And the fact that there's so many in-engine cutscenes makes me feel like there's going to be much heavier emphasis on story, which would be really, really cool. Reminds me of the sort of PS2 days of Armored Core, where you'd have all the cutscenes of different characters like Leos Klein and things like that in Armored Core 2 that you'd meet throughout the story. So really, really cool. Looking forward to that. And I just want to point out how awesome. I don't know if they've changed the engine they used for Elden Ring that much at all. But yeah, it just looks really, really cool. The updated engine. Can't wait to see what it really looks like when we get our hands on it. It seems to be these solar panel sort of structures around the planet. Don't know if that play into any of the missions. That'd be quite cool because we have been to space in some of the previous Armored Core games and fought onboard space stations. And even though this is completely separate from the previous entries, so it would be a really nice jumping on point for people new to the series, but should also feel familiar to people that have played previous entries in the series.
We're close to Rubicon. Wake the dog up.
Handler Walter verified. Activating cerebral coral control device.
So this makes me feel like we might actually be a prisoner sent here by the corporations as part of sentence, to get out of sentencing or something like that. And they said activating cerebral coral control device. Coral is actually the mysterious substance that has caused the catastrophe on the planet Rubicon, and the system was then abandoned, but then it's been detected back on the planet again. So that's where we've been sent here by the corporations to investigate and build up resources. And it's very much looking like a resource wars, corporate resource wars, similar to a lot of the previous entries in the game. A lot of previous entries in the series. But yeah, it definitely looks like we're going to be going there against our will. And the way they call us dog as well.
Handler Walter.
And in previous games, we had an operator who'd be the person speaking to you at the start of missions. But it's called, they're being labelled as a handler this time. And our handler seems to be called Walter. So yeah, wonder what sort of role they'll play in the story, or if they will just be an operator like they are in previous games. There's that feed the fire line again from the opening reveal trailer. I don't know why the quality's bouncing around a bit. So yeah, we've got this awesome opening shot. Looks like old sort of refineries, probably left over from before the catastrophe at the planet. Do really like this art direction. Very desolate, kind of futuristic in some ways, but very industrial at the same time. Very familiar to the Armored Core series. I do think From Software just cannot be beaten on art direction. And this shot kind of reminds me a little bit of the Kojima factories or power plants in the Armored Core 4 and 4 Answer. Reminds me a little bit of that. And obviously we've got this glowing red that looks like it might be like a laser grid or something, like some sort of security system. But yeah, the glowing red is obviously a theme through the game with the coral substance that's been featured heavily throughout all the trailers so far, and on the next as well. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what this is, if it's anything important to the story. So we got this awesome shot here. You can see in the sky's on fire, similar to the reveal trailer, and that's obviously the result of the catastrophe that happened here previously. And this in the middle here actually looks like a sort of spaceship or space shuttle to me. Maybe when people are evacuating, if they knew the catastrophe was sort of heading its way. But yeah, in the middle of a very industrial looking facility. So this seems like a lot of the game is going to take place in areas like this. And yeah, it definitely looks like we crash more than land. So that sort of plays again into the theory that we might be a prisoner or captured by the corporations and sort of forced to to work here for them, more against our will. Maybe we owe them a debt of some description. But it definitely seems like they don't really care about us all that much. So you can see our dropship exploding, then our base starting next. Actually looks quite similar to the next in the reveal trailer. Like that. This could definitely be a missile system with a rifle. And then that looks a little bit like it might be an energy blade or a pile driver like we saw in the reveal trailer again. I do wonder if what the starting next will be like and how much they'll vary. You know, if it'll be like previous games where we'll get like the choice of a heavier next or a much lighter next. I don't know if they're next. They might not be next at all. But yeah, Armored Core, or if it'll be very much sort of basic Armored Core that you start off with, like in Armored Core 2 and 3 and the games in the PS2 generation.
Augmented human C4621 has awakened.
So obviously we're not quite a regular human being. We've got some sort of augmentation. This might sort of play into the same sort of themes that of Human Plus that was in the PS2 generation of games, that you'd unlock if you accrued a certain amount of debt by failing missions and taking a lot of damage. And then you would then be captured by the corporations and installed with Human Plus, which made your piloting abilities much stronger. But it basically turns you into a brainless zombie that was just used to pilot a next. Armored Core, sorry. So again, I don't know if this plays into the fact that we might be a prisoner and forced to do this against our will. But yeah, it's nice to see a lot of repeating themes from previous entries in the series, especially if you've played previous entries in the series. But also it's good jumping on point, just hinting at some potential story points for newcomers, so they sort of know what they're getting into a little bit more before starting the game. Have to point out this opening shot, absolutely wicked. It's nice to see that we're in the air as well, because that was something that a lot of people didn't like with Armored Core 5 and Verdict Day, is the game was much slower and you couldn't fly around like you could in Armored Core 4 and 4 Answer. But yeah, this environment looks absolutely massive. Knowing From Software, you can probably explore the majority of this, maybe up to the mountains. Then I do wonder what these overhead structures are, because you can see them sort of throughout the trailer. But I have to point out this Armored Core looks absolutely awesome. Looks like it's got some sort of missile system on its back right, and again basic rifle on its right hand. Not sure what that is on its shoulder, and again that might be a melee weapon on the left. So this potentially might take place near the start of the game, and it might be the starting next that we're equipped with that you see being dropped from the dropship after it explodes. So this is a really cool shot. Obviously going down some sort of shaft, flying down and dodging these laser shots that are coming up. But it's good to see that quick boosting is a thing. So we definitely know that that's in the game. And again, this looks like the starting next, or the next that we saw at the start of the trailer. But yeah, if you remember this shot for later on, because when we're at the bottom of this shaft, it looks like it's shown, you know, what's firing these lasers at us here later in the trailer. So I'll point it out when we get to it. But yeah, again, awesome shot. Really loving the new engine. You can see loads of particle effects with our boosters, like heat haze coming off the boosters as well. Really, really cool. Can't wait to see how the game looks. Another awesome shot. You can see our next skating along. This very much reminds me of the Spirit of Motherwell in Armored Core 4 Answer. So if that is the case, it'll be cool to see what large battles, boss battles we might be having, unless this might actually be a playable level itself. Looks like a very similar structure to what the armor cores were on in the reveal trailer, but obviously that was just it looked like an immobile bridge. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what this has in store for us. Again, seems very Spirit of Motherwell. Don't know if these are weapons or slots that you can land on. Looks to be some sort of drilling device, maybe, with these sort of teeth on the front here. I don't know if that would have anything to do with the coral substance that we're trying to get hold of. Yeah, beautiful shot. Looks really cool. Another awesome opening shot. Very similar to the first shot of the trailer when we land on the planet. And with all this industrial equipment here. In fact, it might be the same area with this logo. Yeah, not sure what the equipment is that we have on our armor core here. This looks like it might be some sort of laser blades with the way it's mounted on the forearm rather than being held in the hand. Another really, really cool shot. This dropship being shot out of the sky and exploding. Again, it looks like we have a missile system on our back, so it is good to know that back weapons are a thing as well, because in Armored Core 5 and Verdict Day, you only had handheld weapons and you put them on your back. Yeah, almost similar to the pylon system in Daemon X Machina, if you've played that game. So we have another unit here. This almost looks like an MT, much smaller booster trails coming off, and a little bit chunkier and bulkier in design. But yeah, this looks an awful lot like the shot in the trailer with the Gatling gun firing and the missile hitting a big wall that then explodes. So it's cool to see things in the reveal trailer actually be playable levels. Something to notice about the boosters is that these boosters are actually blue, and in the opening shot when we first see the boosters, they glow orange. So I don't know if, like Armor Core 5, there'll be different sort of mobility modes, and you can which then dictates which color of boosters you have. Orange for your normal mobility mode, and then blue for sort of a more mobile mode. Yeah, just something to note. It might just be buying different boosters changes your flame color. That'd be pretty cool. Or you might even be able to customize it. That'd be pretty cool. It does seem like they're really hammering home the customization aspect of the game. Yeah, but you'll notice some of the armor cores have different flame colors coming out of their boosters. So it seems like we're facing against some more turret-like enemies. Not sure if these guys move. You can see what look like tank treads underneath them. But yeah, you can see they've got 4 Gatling guns on them. So I probably want to keep moving and get around them maybe to fire on them. But yeah, just the scale of it all. It's massive wall. And this is really interesting. This looks like some sort of elevator jump pad thing. Almost similar to some of the Assassin's Creed games that would have a system that you could, attach something and then shoot up the side of a building. But it does seem like there's a lot more of a focus on verticality in this game in comparison to Armored Core 5 and Armored Core Verdict Day. So really exciting to see them sort of combine all the elements of previous entries. Yeah, this game definitely feels like a sort of a culmination of everything they've learned across all entries, similar to how Elden Ring is like a culmination of the Dark Souls series. But again, just looks really awesome with the particle effects of him from where he's skated onto this platform. But yeah, he'll shoot up in a sec and start attacking another enemy. So he's obviously, this is following on from the previous shot, and shot up. And you can see an enemy here preparing a weapon. Looks like they've got some sort of machine gun and some sort of missile system. Again, I'm not sure if this is an MT type enemy or another Next or Armor Core. But I'd probably say it looks more like an MT. A little bit bulkier, a little bit more basic. Not as much detail on his design. So we've got another shot here, and again, you can see the boosters have changed colour. They're now orange. but you can see us skating around this enemy here. Again, looks like the same armor core that we've seen throughout the trailer, or very, very similar at least. And you can see a shielded enemy here. Definitely the one that we just saw. You can see the 3 missiles tubes on the back and this machine gun firing at him. But you notice he's also got a shield as well. And it seems like they're definitely making a return from the earlier entries in the series, which would be cool. Be interesting to see how they fit into the sort of play style of the game. I remember if you've played Daemon X Machina, they had shields in that game, and they could be very, very useful in certain situations. But again, you can see this rad symbol in the background. But rather than being like a radiation warning, there's some text here. I can't quite make out what it says. But that might actually be one of the corporations that we're potentially fighting for, especially with the yellow colouring and the yellow colouring of this MT, well, what I assume is an MT type enemy. So, yeah, not sure if that's one of the corporations at all. But I assume it seems more like it's a corporation logo rather than like a warning symbol. And this symbol is also one that was pointed out earlier in the trailer. So it'd be interesting to see if they are one of the corporations we'll be fighting for, or potentially against, maybe. So you can see us quick boosting again, and those 3 rockets being shot at us. And it seems like there's some sort of parry system. I'll just replay that little bit for us. So yeah, I'm not sure if they're implementing some sort of parry system with shields, or if they're just like a quick activation thing, but it's very similar to what we saw again in the reveal trailer. So it's nice to see that they're keeping all the elements that they've shown us so far. And you can see this armor core has like a visor. So it definitely looks like the one that we got shown in the reveal trailer. You know, at the end where the visor comes down as he's moving along. But yeah, that's definitely cool to see how shields function. Be interesting to see if it's a parry system, or you can hold it up and just sort of block, or if it's much more timing based. But hopefully they offer quite a lot of protection, because we all know what From Software is like. They like making very difficult games. You can see him quick boost in there and use a laser blade. So that's definitely what we have on our other arm, which is cool. And according to the developers, there's going to be a much larger focus on melee combat. Before, you know, it was an option, and it was very rewarding if you managed to land your hits, but it also had very high risk to it. So it'd be interesting to see, especially with the introduction of things like shields, be interesting to see how that plays into it, and how it makes melee combat a lot more viable. Do like that little sequence, absolutely awesome. And you can see us shooting our missiles here. So it seems like this might either be a different enemy, or it might be the same one. Not sure, because it doesn't have a shield on top of it. So it might mean that we have destructible parts, like some of the older games. So this might be a different enemy that hasn't got a shield equipped, or our energy sword attack has destroyed the shield, so it means he's much more vulnerable to different forms of attack, like the missiles we're using here. So this is interesting. In Armored Core 5 and Verdict Day, there was scan. You could enter scan mode, and that would point out and highlight enemies that are in your vicinity. So it's interesting to see that it's back. I'd wonder if it's be a fully implemented scan mode, because previously your energy would recover faster in scan mode, but you couldn't attack. And you could also shoot out little sort of beacons that pinged nearby enemies for you as well. So it'd be interesting to see if it's a defined scan mode to combat mode, or if it's just an ability that your AC has that allows you to do a pulse and find nearby enemies. But yeah, got a quad looking armor core here, similar to the one that we saw in the reveal trailer, with a Gatling gun on the right arm. Looks like a very heavy weapon this, but cool. Very much carrying on similar themes to previous Gatling guns in the series. Then this looks almost like a vertical missile system. We'll see this in a little bit in a second. And this looks like either maybe another arm weapon or just a back weapon, but yeah, it looks like a heavy bazooka or a grenade cannon or something like that. Got to love a grenade cannon, really powerful in some of the entries of the series. But yeah, you can see the enemies highlighted here. They all seem to look pretty similar, so I assume that this is what a sort of very standard MT type enemy would look like. Probably be the sort of bread and butter enemy of the game. So there's an interesting flying animation here, and it's they've let in the interview they let you know that the way your armor core moves and functions is very much more dependent on certain parts you equip. So I don't know if these legs affect the flying abilities of your armor core at all, because this armor core does seem very stable in the next shot when it's firing its weapons. So it'll be interesting to see what parts affect your armor core in what way, and if it's just your legs, or if it also is affected by your arms or maybe your torso. There might be different torsos in this game. Similar to Armor Core 3, you could have cores that had orbit exceeds, which are like little drones that could fire at enemies for you. And there was other cores that had missile defense systems, so they'd shoot out a laser that would help destroy incoming missiles. But it wouldn't get all of them. It would have a rating, and how likely it was to destroy the missiles would be dependent on that rating. But again, the boosters are blue here, so not sure if there's a mobility mode and a higher mobility mode that maybe drains your energy much faster, but you can move a lot faster, and a basic flying mode. So you can see him firing the machine gun here. Looks like it's got a very high rate of fire, and it actually looks quite accurate as well, even though we are quite close. So it'd be interesting to see. I assume an FCS type part is going to be in the game. Be interesting to see what stats those have, because the creator has said they want to try and streamline things for people that are new to the series. But you can see on the back here as well, these sort of flaps are open, so it means this weapon is definitely being used, because they weren't open in the previous shot. Interesting to note is that both these are on the same side, and in previous games like Armored Core 4 and For Answer and 5 and Verdict Day, I can't remember 5 and Verdict Day entirely because I haven't played much of them, but definitely in Armored Core 4 and For Answer, you could only use weapons on opposite sides, so you couldn't use two weapons on the right side at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see how that system works and how you select different weapons. But yeah, just an interesting little detail there, that you can use weapons that are on the same side. So you can see he launches those missiles there. And it seems like he's targeted multiple targets as well. You can see this MT type enemy got destroyed here, one in the background. This one looks like it's been destroyed, and this one looks like it's also had a missile fire at it. So this is definitely like a droideka from Star Wars. But you can see all these barrels here, and these almost look like the grenade launchers that you get on tanks. So it'd be interesting to see if they have any sort of smoke grenades or anything like that. But yeah, really cool design. And then you can see he fires like a shotgun shot from his torso there as well. So definitely looks like something you want to avoid. These guys probably very mobile enemies, the way they roll forward. But you can see he shoots a energy shotgun there to sort of stagger him. Then here, it looks like he goes in for a melee attack, but rather than using any of his arm weapons, it looks like he kicks him. So again, I don't know if that plays into what the creator was saying about different parts affecting your armor core in different ways. You know, some legs, like these reverse joint legs, might be able to do a melee attack if you quick boost into an enemy or something, which really cool, gives you another option. And again, seems to highlight the fact that they're trying to make melee combat a lot more viable. Then here's that energy shotgun. Looks really cool, really futuristic, very sci-fi. Almost looks like it could be something out of Mass Effect. And then there's this weapon here as well. It'll pop up a couple of times in the trailer. To me, it looks like a sort of a very basic machine gun. But the fact that the weapon's quite short makes me think that it's very much a close range weapon, which ties into the fact that this is a shotgun as well. So this armor core seems to be a much smaller frame, so probably looking to be a much lighter, more mobile build. And then not sure what these are on the back. In profile, it looks an awful lot like some scatter rockets that are in Armored Core 4, but the 3 barrels remind me of the manually guided rockets that you could use. So be interesting to see what these parts do. But yeah, you can see he darts forward there, and it actually looks like he kicks him. So we got another build here with a tank base. Always interesting to see heavy builds. Then it looks like he's got some sort of rifle here, and some sort of bazooka or grenade cannon, similar to the one that was on the back of the other armor core that we saw with the quad legs. And this looks like a large rocket or large missile system. Then no idea what this is. Yeah, it looks like a very heavy weapon. But with tank legs, they're said that they'll be more useful for drifting. So when you're on a mission that doesn't involve much flying at all and you're just sort of skating around, seems like tank legs might be the way to go. You can see him charge through the enemy here. So it's similar to the way the previous armor core kicked that enemy. I don't know if different legs will have different sort of melee attacks, because this guy just seems to like plow through the enemy. Also with like a slight jump as well. So yeah, it makes me think that some of the parts like tank legs and those reverse joint legs might have a melee attack attached to them. And you can see him sort of drift around there and then swap out his arm weapon. Oh yeah, this is the weapon he had on his back. So you can see you can swap arm weapons onto your back slots. So this thing fires out a missile that then splits into other missiles, which is really cool. Very similar to spread missile systems in Armored Core 4 and 4 Lancer. Can be definitely be effective against both single targets and multiple targets. Just want to point out how awesome this shot is, and the fact that all this detail is in the game, whilst also you've got this massive environment behind us, this backdrop with more of this sort of interesting structure. This is a wicked shot. So here you can see a new melee weapon type introduced, this energy whip. And then this armor core is using a shield similar to the one that we saw in the trailer and in the reveal trailer and earlier in this trailer. So again, I wonder if, because it sort of fades after a split second. So again, I'm wondering if it's like a parry timed system or if you can hold it out. The fact that it's seems to be energy based makes me think that, you know, you might have an energy bar and it's like on a recharge, like separate from, it might be separate from your main energy bar. It might be all part of the same energy bar. But yeah, it seems like you might only be able to hold it out for a certain amount of time. So that seems to be coming from his back left. Not quite sure what he's got on his back right. But then this weapon here, you can only see it for a split second. But it seems to be a flamethrower. And I'm not quite sure what the other armor core is using. Almost looks like they've got a shield here, this sort of circular shape here with the red light on it. because I don't know if there'll be physical shields as well, because there were in previous games. You could get both physical shields and energy shields. But yeah, really loving this. Obviously a battle between two armor cores, and this is an awesome animation. I don't know if this armor core has jumped up, like flown up and then attacked with the whip. That might be a special attack that you might be able to do with some melee weapons, where the attack will change depending on if you're in the air or on the ground, or if the jump is part of the attack animation. Then another really cool shot of this sort of drilling robot coming out, and you can see some of the weapons here. Looks like some sort of advanced rifle. Reminds me a little bit of the one that Noblesse Oblige uses in Armored Core 4 and 4 Answer. No idea what weapons they have on the back. I'm not sure if this might be a pile driver. It might be no idea what this is. The tube makes me think it might also be a missile system. But yeah, this looks like some sort of machine gun to me. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see some parts look very similar to previous parts in the series, but also see completely new redesigned parts like this. And this is a completely new enemy type to the series. There definitely seems to be a massive focus on boss battles in this, so it's nice that they're bringing some of that over from the Dark Souls series, and I hope it sort of feels like Armored Core 4 Answer, when you went up against the arms force, and it was like quite, really different mission structure to other sort of normal missions in the game, because it's not an open world game or anything like that. It is a very much traditional Armored Core game where you have your garage and you have your store. You customize your armor core for each mission specifically. This shot's really, really cool. Definitely to me looks like assault armor from Armored Core 4 Answer, because the player armor core charges forward and then releases a massive explosion. Seems to be like have quite an electrical sort of effect going on with it. I don't know if that will tie into the energy source that's coral that could be found on this planet. Similar to how assault armor tied into Kojima particles, and which we use to power our armor cores in Armored Core 4 and 4 Answer. This weapon looks insane. I don't know if it's like some sort of laser shotgun or something. But yeah, really, really cool. Loving all the effects as well, and the reflections on the water. Not quite sure what this streak is. Makes me think that our character might have fired a missile and it's shot past this armored core here, and this armored core that is shooting at us with the lasers. Interesting to note, in the background, you can't really see all that much because of the motion blur, but it looks like it's a frozen lake and much more sort of natural stone environment with a little bit of industrial stuff going up here. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing some of the other environments as well as all the industrial stuff, and really getting to, it seems like we're going to really be able to explore the planet. But yeah, this explosion really reminds me of assault armor that this armor core is about to do. See if I can rewind a little bit. Yeah, try and get a bit of a better look at the other armor cores here. So you can see this attack here, these cool shockwaves coming off of it. Oh, it looks like there's actually 3 armor cores. So there's this one here with some sort of 3-barreled weapon and quad legs. There's this one here. That's definitely the pile driver. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but that's definitely the pile driver that we saw in the reveal trailer. And it looks like there's a armor core in the background here, either with tank legs or maybe some sort of hover legs. But you can see all the energy coming off our armor core as we prepare for this explosion. And this guy's looks like he's getting a shield out as well. And then there looks to be some energy coming off this armor core as well. So he might also have some sort of assault armor type system. But you can see the background in this shot a little bit better. So you can see some like old stonework here. But all this is very, natural. You've got some trees in the background and it's all sort of snow covered. But yeah, really, really cool. Blink and you miss it shot. So then we have another in-engine cutscene. So it's, again, like I said at the start of this, it seems like the game will focus a lot more on in-engine cutscenes and putting the story to the forefront of the missions, which is quite cool. But our armor core here looks like it's got a bazooka, and I'm not quite sure what the other weapons it has on it, but we'll see this guy in action in a second. So we've got another armor core here, jumping in. Looks very, very different, much lighter build. So I assume it be the parts being manufactured from a different company, and the weapons seem to be much lighter as well. So it seems to have like some light machine gun, lightweight machine gun, or maybe even a pistol in their right hand. And this definitely looks like some sort of energy weapon to me, based on what some of the other energy weapons look like in the trailer. Not sure, can't really get a good view of what they got in the back to see what they are. But yeah, in the next shot you'll see an enemy that's was in the reveal trailer. But at the bottom here, you've got one of the infamous handler Walter's hounds. So the guy that we're working for definitely seems to have a bit of reputation, which makes me feel like rather than just being your sort of operator or handler, they'll take a bigger role in the story. It's nice to hear, voiced armor cores as well that aren't the player characters.
Handler Walter's hounds. Interesting. You ready to climb the wall?
So this is the armor core. This is the enemy that we see busting through the wall in the same way it just did in the reveal trailer. So looks like they tried making the reveal trailer as accurate as possible to the final game, which is really cool. And you notice in the background as well the music from the reveal trailer kicks in, which is really awesome. Yeah, you can see the other armor core a little bit better. Looks like they've got some sort of rifle on their back slot. But yeah, you can really see how it's a much slimmer design to the player character's armor core. But this enemy definitely seems like it's got a lot of guns. You can see cannons here, cannons on the top, these two big cannons here. And then I really hope these aren't more weapons. But yeah, if something this big can move that fast and charge through the wall like that, it'd be interesting to see what it's like facing off against him. Just something to point out as well. It does say ready to climb the wall. So that makes me feel like there's some sort of competition almost between pilots of who can, I don't know if there's some sort of scoring system, but who can sort of perform the best in missions. Or even maybe this might be alluding to the fact that there's a arena mode similar to how there were in previous entries, and the fact, it's like a laddered system, and you have different leagues, and you can, by defeating opponents, you climb up the leagues.
Climb the wall.
But yeah, you can see this character in action here. I'd definitely say that it looks like a bazooka. It's got like a massive barrel. And again, not sure what they've got on their arms or on their back. So that looks like our arm weapon is an energy blade. But it looks like it actually goes out in both directions. So you've got a blade coming off here, and then a blade coming off here. And it's good to know as well that when you do a melee attack, it charges forward like it did in previous games. So it sort of aids that mobility aspect to the game. And these look like massive boosters, which allow this massive enemy to move around as quickly as it does.
Call sign Raven.
But yeah, privacy subject for termination, high on the list. So it definitely means that our character is causing a nuisance and creating a lot of enemies in some ways. But yeah, you can see this energy blade again. So it's a twin energy blade. Like, how cool is that? Interesting to know as well, Raven is what the pilots used to be called in the original games on the PS1 and PS2, but it just seems to be our call sign. So I don't know if that's because this game being completely separate. I don't know if that alludes to anything or if it's just like a little Easter egg to the previous games in the series.
Call sign Raven.
So this definitely seems like a boss battle between another armored core as well. Different armor core we're using. This definitely looks like another pile driver with this sort of massive rod going through it with a spike on the end of it, and again showing off quick boosting. So here we cut from this perspective, and in the next shot it'll be from this enemy's perspective, and you can see he's sort of got his energy blade out here, and you can also take notice of completely different booster set up on his back. So you can see this is sort of the reverse shot. So that's the armor core we were just behind, and then there's this shot, you know, with the energy blade out here. But rather than just having the boosters on your back, you know, he's got this sort of I don't know really what to call it, but yeah, this massive thing on his back with boosters shooting out of it. I don't know if this is maybe unique to this fight and this is like a boss part, but the fact that this is an armored core makes me feel like we should be able to unlock parts like this. And again, with the focus on different parts really changing out how your armored core moves, makes me think that we will be able to unlock things like this. Reminds me quite a lot of when you unlock white glints parts in armored core 4 Answer with those big sort of shoulder boosters that open up when you overboost. I will be interested to see if overboost is in this game, because I haven't really seen it clearly in this game. So it'll be something to look out for. But yeah, he seems to have some sort of machine gun in his left arm as well. Almost looks like some sort of Tommy gun type looking weapon. Really cool. And then he goes in for this quite unique attack animation for this armor core we were just behind. So I don't know if this again might be part of a cutscene or if it's just, you know, the animations are that cool that they all look very unique. So here we got another boss battle with what seems to be some sort of like spider tank enemy that uses the Madeir laser beam of exploding death attack that everyone loves so much. But hopefully with our greater mobility that we have in our armor core, it should be less of an issue. You see him dodge it in a second. You know, he's got a sort of spinning energy attack, very similar to Daemon X Machina, you know, the attack animation in that game. And it seems like quite a long blade as well. But here, there seems to be a very long weapon here. Looks quite sleek in its design, so that might be some sort of energy weapon. Not sure on the left slot. And that definitely looks like a shotgun on the right. So it's good to know that they're making a return. And you might notice in the reveal trailer there was a shotgun there as well. But you can see the spider tank is preparing this laser beam shot that then explodes as it sort of drifts across the battlefield. But yeah, here it mentions a coil response from the generator. So that makes me think that similar to how Kojima particles tied into the story and were also the source of energy for our armored cores, it'll be a very similar sort of situation here. And that's one of the reasons why the resource is so important and the corporations want in on it. But yeah, you can see we managed to quick boost out of the way there, thankfully. Get a nice shot of the left side of this armored core and this, you know, awesome sort of exploding effect that's very similar to the effect that you see in the sky. So again, it's got to tie into the coral and the you know, that being the power source for maybe our machine and the other machines. But I haven't seen any hints of primal armor in this, so it'll be interesting to see if that makes a return, you know, or if we'll just have the energy shields and that system.
Watch out.
So yeah, you can see you don't want to get too close to this guy either. Does this massive sort of stamp down attack. Really good look at the boss, and you can see, you know, all this strange structure that seems to be in the sky everywhere as well. How awesome is this boss? Yeah, like, cool, really cool. That's all I can say. Yeah, this is the only hint in the game, in the trailer, that I've seen of some sort of primal armor shield. Is this sort of electricity effect going around this guy? So I don't know if it'll be something that we'll be able to have on our armor core, or if not, I really hope we get to unlock this part. I'll understand if not, but yeah, looks really, really cool. If we can unlock things like this, makes me think, reminds me a lot of the overdrive. I think they're called the overdrive weapons in Armored Core Verdict Day, which were like massive weapons that that made you vulnerable while using, and like put error messages up on your screen and stuff. But if you hit another Armored Core with it, it'd basically be like a one-hit kill. But yeah, you can see him fire off all these missiles. We're doing our best to boost past him and getting close. Looks like we've got some sort of machine gun here, and in the shot a second ago, he had one that looked very similar in his left arm. So it looks like a very much close range build, maybe, which makes sense for you know, an enemy like this. But you can see those rings are like collapsed now, and he hasn't got them out. So, but he's still managing to shoot these missiles from somewhere. So it'll be interesting to see what weapons this guy's kitted out with. So that shot earlier in the game, in the trailer, sorry, where we're looking down and the laser beams are firing up at us, looks very much like this shot. You know, it looks like it's at the bottom of that shaft. So it seems to me like there'll be a mission where, you know, there's a area that's being defended by this weapon, and we've been tasked to take it out. So, you know, you start at the top, maybe do a little bit of fighting, then drop down, make our way down this shaft, then we have to take it out. Interesting to note these sort of blue, almost power coil things attached to each of the weapons. So maybe, you know, smaller enemies spawn around here, and we have to go in and destroy all of these. Seems like a very typical sort of Armored Core mission. Yeah, so I wonder if small enemies spawn in here, or maybe this thing has another way of attacking you. Maybe even, you know, these massive lasers sort of angle down and shoot at you while you're flying around, because this seems like quite a big area. Yeah, and then we have this shot here, which seems like it's against another boss enemy. And these weapons here remind me quite a lot of the sort of overdrive weapons that I was talking about in Armored Core Verdict Day. And this looks to be like the grenade cannon or bazooka or whatever it is that we saw earlier in the trailer on the quad Armored Core. Yeah, another cool shot. All these explosions going off with these big weapons. Definitely a boss battle. Maybe a different phase of the battle. Definitely looks like the same enemy with all these blades underneath and all on his arms. Really, really cool. It's also a very dark arena, so it'd be interesting to see if we have some missions take place at night or during the day.
Let's see how far they can fly. On borrowed wing.
So yeah, really cool shot here. Again, got all this overground structure. Almost looks like roads going from these oil rig looking things. But yeah, this definitely looks like the starting Armored Core. But very curious as to what this means. Maybe we're working for the corporation, but also trying to escape them at the same time, or something like that. But yeah, the lady talking definitely seems like she's going to be an important role in the story. And then, of course, it releases August 25th, which is only 4 months away. Really can't wait for it. Really, really excited for it. But yeah, that was my take on the Armored Core trailer. It's quite a long video for a 3-minute trailer, but yeah, there's loads of detail packed in every shot of it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my breakdown. And after this, I'll on the Bandai Namco website, there's some press images released. I'll go through those and do a little bit of breakdown of those as well. So stick around for that. But yeah, thank you for watching this, and we'll move on to the press images next. So yeah, like I said, there were some screenshots released in the press pack that can be downloaded from Bandai Namco's website. I'll see if I can link that in the description for you guys. So this first screenshot is taken from the start of the trailer, and you can really see everything in really good detail. Nice weather effects with the snow, particle effects coming off the boosters. Looks like there's something quite large that's been destroyed over here as well. And again, we have these overhead structures with these road-like pathways going between them. So not really much to add from this shot that's taken directly from the trailer. And there's a shot here. Looks very similar to a very brief shot that's in the announcement trailer. I'm thinking that this area will function as our garage, where we get to customize our armored core. Not very much to say about this one really, but yeah, just cool little detail. And then there's this shot here, looks really cool. Seem to be dual wielding weapons here, but they look like they're slightly different. But yeah, some aerial combat between this armored core here and this one here. They both look very similar though, got the same missile system on their back slot. Not sure what this weapon is on this back slot. The enemy armor core seems to have some sort of rifle and maybe some sort of machine gun. I'm thinking actually this machine gun looks very similar to the weapon we have in our left hand, or the armor core on the left has in their left hand. It's got a very similar sort of structure at the bottom here, but that might not be the case. But yeah, another really cool shot. You can see all these like trails coming off the back of this armored core, and obviously fighting in some sort of big industrial complex. So yeah, gonna look forward to the battles against other armored cores. It's always a highlight of the series, very challenging. Yeah, this next shot has a heavier armor core with a tank base. You can see it still has boosters on it though. So hopefully the tank armor core's legs are still quite mobile. Seems that way from what we saw in the trailer as well earlier. But yeah, you can see this armor core has dual Gatling guns, but the one on the left does seem like it's bigger than the one on the right. And then again, there's this heavy weapon that looks like either a grenade cannon or bazooka or something of that nature on the back right here. And then there's the vertical missile system that we see the quad leg armor core fire in the trailer as well. But yeah, obviously these Gatling guns look like they have a very high rate of firing, but even then, even though we're quite close, again, they do seem quite accurate. And then there's another MT looking enemy over here. And then there's this enemy here, which looks very similar to one that we faced in the trailer. But it hasn't got a shield, and instead it's got 2 miniguns, and it's got more like rocket tubes on the top of it. So I assume that this is just a MT type enemy, but maybe as you go through the game they get upgraded, or there's more variants introduced, and so this one fires more missiles at you rather than just the 3 that the one in the trailer fired that we saw. But yeah, it looks like some sort of desert environment, this. Yeah, really cool. Really liking the sort of colour balance between the different areas. You know, this is very brown and desolate, and some of the other areas, you know, are either snowy and very white, or, you know, very dark. And yeah, it just seems like there's a good sort of variety of different environments. And I really like this shot. This is really cool. Looks like it's in a much more sort of residential area with all these buildings that almost look like skyscrapers or flats or apartments in the background. But yeah, obviously flying forward, and there's these enemies here. Again, they look like MTs shooting at us. But the fact that they're missing makes me feel like we're quick boosting here, which is why our boost trails are so long. But then here's a weapon that we saw in the trailer. I think it does look like some sort of machine gun. Smaller sort of MT down at the bottom here as well. But yeah, this would be the only evidence, with the fact that there's these sort of trails coming off, like air trails coming off. This shot is the only evidence I've really seen that there might be overboosting in this game, but still need to see if that is the case. I think if it was a feature in the game, they might have showed it off a bit more heavily in the trailer, but we'll wait and see to find out whether or not it's revealed and is part of the game. So there's this cool shot here of obviously some melee combat that's just taken place. So there's this armored core here. Again, looks very similar to the starting armored core that we see throughout the trailer. And you can see this energy blade here, got quite a cool sort of turquoisey colour to it. You can see it leaving this big streak where there's these sparks around here where we swung it round and obviously hit the enemy. Not sure if this is another next or another armor core or an MT type enemy. You can see there's a little bit less detail and a little bit lower polygon count for the model, so I'm assuming this might be MT type enemy. But you can see it's raining as well, so it seems like we won't just have snow weather effects, we'll have rain and potentially sandstorm type effects in the desert area. So it'd be interesting to see if that affects combat in any way. So then there's this shot, which seems to be in a very similar area to where we saw the quad-legged craft in the trailer, and seems to be facing up against similar enemies as well, but it also looks like it's got a very different setup. Obviously it's still got the quad legs, and it seems to have this rifle that we also saw in the trailer, one of the armor cores use in the trailer. Then there's these 3 energy rifles. Reminds me quite a lot of Noblesse Oblige weapons in Armored Core 4 and 4 Answer. But then there's this weapon that looks to be like an energy weapon on the back as well. But if you notice, this one has much more of a purple glow. So I don't know if this might be a high energy rifle, if there is 2 classes of energy cannons or energy rifles, or it might even be like a railgun type weapon. But yeah, interesting to see what they do with energy weapons. Can't really see what they've got on their left arm though. But yeah, another really, really cool shot. See like these purple sparks as well. So that might actually be a plasma cannon, thinking about it, because in some of the games, plasma cannon, well, in Armored Core 4 Answer, plasma cannons left like some sort of like static electricity effect in the area after you fired it. So I think the energy weapon we have in our left might have already fired, and that's leaving this sort of yellow aura on the ground. Obviously we're firing the blue lasers as well, but we've obviously just destroyed something up here as well. So here's those machine guns as well. This guy seems to be like a heavier build, but still only got 2 legs. And you can see a massive missile system here. But then around him, there's all these units here. So I'm not sure if these are enemies or maybe some sort of turret system. But the fact that there's like shell casings, it looks like a shell casing here and some here, makes me think that these are definitely enemies. And you know, there's sparks in the background here, so someone might be shooting at this armored core here. Yeah, another really cool looking environment. Really liking the way the engine is looking for all these stills. and you know you've got all the sort of glowing bits of the armored core as well standing out there, looking really cool. So here's another shot. Again, looks like the starting armored core, or at least the armored core we see at the start of the trailer, against these very sort of construction equipment looking enemies. I remember in Armored Core 3, one of the starting missions was going up against rebelling construction workers. So I don't know if that'd be a similar theme, or maybe some people survived on the planet Rubicon and have sort of salvaged these sort of mech construction equipment and are using them as sort of like makeshift weapons against the player character and the other corporations that have got an interest in the planet. And it looks like we've also got a shield out. You can see a little bit of a blue glow and this arm extending from the back. So yeah, it seems like we've got the shield out to block some of these incoming missiles. Not quite sure what's going on here. It might be almost looks like a blade at the end of a arm that this mech is looking to attack the player with. But yeah, another really, really cool shot. All these shots are really cool. Yeah, liking the look of the game. So then there's this shot as well. And it looks quite similar to the boss battle looking enemy that we saw in the trailer, the spider tank sort of looking enemy that fires the laser beams of Midir, similar to the attack Midir has in Dark Souls 3. That, you know, the lasers that fire and then the ground explodes where they shot. But yeah, can't really see any more details for the armor core. But I am definitely liking the way the model looks and the way the parts look. Another look at one of the weapons we saw in the trailer as well. So this looks to be like an underground area. Really, really cool. Again, really showing off the fact that there are a lot of environments in this game. And then there's this heavy bazooka grenade cannon type weapon that we've seen multiple times. And then there's this as well on the back right. Very similar, looks very similar to one of the things we had on our back with when the drill like worm enemy comes out of the ground and we're moving towards it. So yeah, still not sure what that is. Then it looks like we've got some sort of rifle or handgun in our right arm. Cool paint job as well, bright yellow. That is something to notice in all these screenshots, is how different all the armor cores look. And if you notice at the end of the trailer as well, on one of the pre-orders, you get a skin. So I assume that will be a big part of the customization, which is good to find out, because that was in the previous games and really allowed you to make your armor core look different. So then here's another shot from the trailer where there's takes place in the cutscene, where there's the other armor core here that seems to be on our side. And then this big enemy here that we saw in the announcement trailer with what I assume is our armored core here. Again, nice sort of snow effects. Not really much to add after we saw this in the trailer. So then I really like this shot actually. There's this gunshot ship that we saw in the announcement trailer. And if you remember in that trailer, it had like a big Gatling gun on the bottom of it. And I thought that it was transporting that weapon. But it seems like these aren't just transport ships. Yeah, he's got all this. Seems to be another Gatling gun here. There's like these cannons firing here. He's got all these boosters as well on the front. So this definitely seems like it's going to be a boss battle. And our armor core is boosting to get out of the way. But yeah, again, this seems like quite a basic armor core, similar to the one that we saw at the start of the trailer. But yeah, really, really liking the look of things and the fact that there seems to be a focus on larger boss battle enemies. Be interesting to see what From Software can do with it. You know, highlight of the Soul series is definitely the boss battles. So hopefully if they can bring a little bit of that into Armored Core, that'd be wicked. And then there's this shot here of the enemy that seems to be using some sort of primal armor type thing that we saw in the trailer that fired all the missiles off. And the parts that they're using and the weapons they're using reminds me quite a lot of White Glint. If you remember at the end of Armored Core 4, when we have that final battle against the sort of prototype, unique looking Armored Core, they have a Gatling gun that's 3 Gatling guns, or it might even be 4 Gatling guns sort of taped together as one weapon, similar to this. And then they have like a massive cannon in their other arm, very similar to this. And then their head part is very similar to what White Glint's head part is in those games, in Armored Core 4 and Armored Core 4 Answer. So I'm not sure if this is, a little callback to White Glint. He is definitely a fan favourite, and From Software know it, as they brought him back in Verdict at the end of Verdict Day as the final boss. So it was really cool seeing him in that. So it'd be interesting to see how important this character is to the story. It seems like there's a big cannon over here as well. So I'm not sure if that's part of this guy's Armored Core, if that's something in the background. But the fact that it's quite in focus and you can see a lot of detail on it in comparison to the background makes me think that this is part of his Armored Core and this sort of ring device that he's got around it. But it's good to see as well that, the rings aren't all out all the time. So he's not just constantly hurling missiles at you. But that makes me think that there might be like a staged boss battle. So maybe in his first phase or first stage, he's got the rings, and then once you do a certain amount of damage to him, the rings fall off. And then maybe you do more damage to him, and then this structure falls off, and then you just face him, and he focuses on using his minigun guns and this cannon type weapon. Really looking forward to facing off against this guy. And then there's this shot here which very much reminds me of one of the Kojima reactors that we've seen in previous Armored Core games. There's all this almost like computer towers that you get in server rooms all up here. The fact that they've sort of put focus on this shot makes me feel like this is going to be important to the story. Maybe throughout the game, at the end of chapters, it's your job to assault a facility that was used for harnessing and gathering coral, maybe, and that's where a lot of the boss battles take place. That'd be quite cool, I think. But yeah, that's, as you can see, that's all the images they've sort of released in the part of the press kit. Again, that should be, if I can, I'll link that in the description for you, or at least link Bandai Namco's website, their Armored Core page, where that will allow you to download the press kit. But yeah, really, really excited for this game. It definitely seems like a good mix between Armored Core 4 and For Answer, and taking the aspects of that people really enjoyed, the high mobility and being able to fly around, and the sort of design of the Armored Cores, but then also mixing it a little bit with the good points of Armored Core 5 and Verdict Day, where the combat was just a little bit slower. Well, it was quite a lot slower in 5 and Verdict Day, and quite different in a lot of ways, and a lot more methodical. But it looks like they've got like a nice mix between the speed of Armored Core 4 and 4 Answer and the sort of slower, more methodical nature of 5 and Verdict Day. So it'd be really interesting to see how that plays out, and what we can expect and how that will affect the missions and tie into the boss battles. And yeah, really, really, really looking forward to this game. Really excited. From Software did good work, so can't wait to see what the next game plays like. Did want to thank everyone for watching. Hopefully you've managed to stick it through this video. It's definitely a longer one, but yeah, loads, like I said earlier, loads of detail packed in through the trailer and all these images. And feel free to comment below any details that you've noticed that I perhaps didn't notice in the trailer, and I might make a pinned comment with all the details that you guys can point out. But yeah, again, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, like and subscribe for more. And if you subscribe as well, you'll be first people to see the Armored Core 6 playthrough when the game comes out, and I get that up on the channel. So it'd be really exciting to have you guys around for that as well. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video and in the playthrough when the game comes out. Thanks for watching.